this meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Councilman Samuka.
Here.
Councilman Accomando.
Here.
Councilwoman Sanchez.
Here.
Councilwoman Mazer is unable to be here this evening. Council President Garrett is also unable to be here. At this point, it would be in order to nominate an acting council president.
I nominate Andrew Samuka. Councilman Samuka, I'm sorry.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I did get taller. I'm standing up for anyone out there. Please rise for the salute to the flag, and please remain standing after that for a moment of silence in memory of Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver, who passed away. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been sent to all council members and to all legal newspapers in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
The public is hereby advised that any statements made during a meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Southbrook may not be privileged or protected, and that persons or entities who take issue with such comments or are offended by same may and have to pass or legal redress through the courts. Any member of the public who addresses the council speaks for themselves and not for the council.
We'll entertain a motion to open the meeting to the public.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Accomando, second by Ms. Sanchez. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is now open to the public. Any member of the public who wishes to address the council, please come forward, state your name, and provide your address.
Good evening, everyone. Thomas Van Winkle, 128 Lincoln Avenue, Southbrook. I'm just going to give you my monthly liaison report to the Mayor's Youth Group as far as what we've been doing and what we will be doing. Okay, so looking back at what we've done since the last council meeting, we had a fun outing. We went to Humdingers up in Paramus on July 31st. They have bowling, arcade, and pizza and ice cream. Everyone had a wonderful time. It's really our way of thanking our members for all they do, all their community service, for attending all the events and helping out. Also, I do want to mention that we did, this week we've been having the Junior Police Academy. A few of our youth group members actually have been going to the Police Academy this week, so I did want to mention that. So really just goes to show you, we have such a fine group of young individuals who are part of our Mayor's Youth Group and are always willing to help out any way they can. So going off of that, looking ahead to the next school year, I did update the registration form on our website just to reflect the new school year for 2023-2024. Our youth group is always open to anyone in grades 4 through 12 who reside in Southbrook. So even if they go to, like, let's say, Paramus Catholic or Tech, they can join, just as long as they reside in Southbrook. So the registration form asks some just basic information and what they like to do, just so we get to know them. Again, our registration form is on our website, which is sbnyg.weebly, which is weebly.com. Again, sbnyg.weebly.com for anybody who wants to register. And then we also asked them for the t-shirt size because we wanted to give them t-shirts that are really part of our youth group.
Did you say SBNY?
NYG.
M
is in Maryland. Yes, and Mayor. Okay. Looking ahead, we are going to be helping out at the Township picnic next Saturday, August 26th. If it rains, it'll be August 27th. And they'll be helping to bring food and refreshments to the seniors. We always ask the youth group members to come out every year, every picnic, and help out with that. That's from 12 to 4 at the County Park on Southbrook Road. Also that morning at 9 a.m., I'm sure Mayor White mentioned it, via the Mayor's Walk, I sent an email to our youth group members asking them, inviting them to participate with the Mayor's Walk on the same day, August 26th, that'll be at 9 a.m. And looking ahead too, we're going to mention meeting in the fall to talk about the fall activities, and we're going to look into election of new officers. And that's all I have for now. I know that was a lot. And thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. And Thomas did a great job taking pictures of our two summer concerts. They were posted on the website, and he's a fantastic photographer. We thank him for all he does for the town. Anybody else wish to come on? Mr. Rodriguez? Sir? If you'd like.
Well, we're just here about the ordinance. Can we talk about that? Talk
You
about
can,
it now?
anything you want to talk about. We've got a couple of minutes to talk about. Are you a member of the public? Are you
I'm with her.
are you a professional that are?
Yeah, I'm with her I'm her attorney.
Okay. So if you want to speak about something, come up.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Just give your name and your address.
My home address?
If you, yes.
Lisa Gallagher, 300 Weston Drive, 2908 Crookside Park, New Jersey. We have a lease for 217 Route 46 in Saddle Brook. We are a cannabis business. We are a licensed manufacturer for the state of New Jersey. We are here today to hopefully see if the amendment to the ordinance increasing manufacturing from 5,000, thank you, to I believe it's 12,005 is voted on. I think today might be the final vote. Our business is really dependent on it. Our state license is expiring, and we already have one extension that we've used, so there's no more extensions with the state. We would have to literally reapply. So we're just here today to see how that goes.
Well, you're probably not going to be happy with my answer, but at the work session, we discussed this. There is an issue in the proposal that we are not sure how it affects possibly you and possibly others. So the intention of the council is to table that ordinance vote until our next, not work session, we'll speak about it at the work session. But what we're going to do is invite our planner to the next work session, which is the first Thursday in September, to speak about it, to kind of advise us as to how this would affect the businesses. What we spoke about before was, in the public session, but what we did was carve out, as a council, what we did was we carved out an area on 46 to do this type of manufacturing and other things regarding cannabis. However, there's some language that's in here that if voted upon may actually limit the ability of people or businesses that we ordinarily would encourage to be in that location. It may prohibit them from being there. That was not our intention. There's some language in there that we're wrestling with a little bit. So what we want to do is speak to our planner, have our planner come in, talk to us, tell us how that would, if it would affect what our intention was in, like I said, making it carve out a special district, so to speak, for that type of operation. Right now, I know I wasn't comfortable with it. A couple of other members, the mayor had some issues with, the language. I brought it up, and it seemed like before we vote on something and then say, oh geez, this is going to affect us not in the way that we want to, we'd like to have our planner here to kind of show us maybe a graphic as to what our carve out is, and if we pass this, if it does affect that carve out.
What specifically?
You'd have to wait until.
Right, sorry.
So,
Yeah, if I may ask before you move on, if I may ask, would that potentially inhibit us from manufacturing there? And I know this is a really LLC problem, but if it were only 5,000 and we have this lease for 15,000 or 14,000 or 12,005, whatever that space may be, then we can only manufacture 5,000 of it, I would have to graciously and humbly try and ask the owners of that building to let us out of the lease, because we would not be able to manufacture enough product to literally cover our rent.
I can tell you that the issue that we have is not about the square footage.
Okay.
It's about where it can be located vis-a-vis residential zones. That's what we talked about. There is a prohibition, and when I look, and we look at the carve-out area, it may have an unintended effect if we look at the distance between residential zones. It may determine that half of these places that we carved out just specifically for this type of operation is no longer viable. So we don't want, that's not our intention. So we need to know if that language is going to impact, it doesn't have any impact, or, you know, we can keep it, we can make it less, we can toss it, you know, we just need some guidance from our planner.
And
That's
this
our
is
intention.
unrelated to square footage.
Pardon?
Through the chair.
Yes. So,
Yeah, yes, it's not, the issues aren't related to the square footage.
Because I know there's nothing residential around that building, so.
No, I'm just gonna ask, what specifically is the language that's different from the ordinance that exists now that was added into the?
Can I say something? I was speaking, okay? I was
Oh, I'm
speaking.
sorry, I thought you were.
I know you are, but I just want to finish my thought. Part of the problem we're having here tonight is, and it's not any fault of anyone here, but our township, our regular township attorney is not here, he's on vacation, so we have our alternate here who did not write the ordinance, and also the planner who, this went before the planning board, as you probably know, and we had our township planner issue a report, a 4-page report, and he's also on vacation. So, you know what? We don't want to do something here and regret it later. I'm sorry that I'm sure you wanted this final thing to go through with the lease and all, but the only thing I can say is that I do believe that no one here has an issue with the 12,500 square feet. And that has nothing to do with, that's not why we're tabling it tonight.
Yeah, we're probably running out of deadlines, but what's the specific language that everybody's?
it's 1,000 feet from residential zone. And I know,
500.
500 feet, right, like most towns. Is that the same in the ordinance that exists now? It was just carried
Yes.
over, and that was been brought up as an issue?
I believe so. I believe it should have been taken out. The ordinance says 500. See, this is, you see where, what I'm,
So the existing.
I hate to tell you, I can't answer your question. I don't know, maybe the attorney can, but I don't know. And that's, I should know, but I'm sorry, I don't. That's what we're kind of a little confused here.
So the issue, you think, exists in the current ordinance, plus exists in the.
Well, it may not exist in the current ordinance when the square footage was only 500,
5,000.
5,000.
Right.
But the question for the planning, like, no one's posed, like you said, like, it's probably not the 12,000, it's just what happens. There's only a certain amount of real estate carved out for this, right? So, in theory, when the planner did this, because it's within their jurisdiction, when the planner did this, he figured, okay, this much square footage, this far away from the residential zones, that works. Plenty of it for all the people who want it. But if now the footage to be devoted gets bigger, the question then becomes, is that still feasible in this limited of carve out? Still being 500 feet from the residential zone, meaning you could be more, that's the question. The question is, how do the other numbers and the zone, because like you said, does that take out the whole carve out?
So like if somebody put up a new building, does it encroach on the?
Yeah, and then maybe the answer is, maybe you need to change 500 feet, whatever, or, yeah, that's sort of the question.
Okay, the next meeting's in September then?
the work session would be the first Thursday in September. I think it would be after Labor Day.
Yes.
Okay, and then the regular session would be 2 weeks afterwards. It's always the first and third. We're a little bit at an issue tonight because we had an outdoor concert on the 3rd, which would have been our normal work session where we could probably have worked all these issues out and then come back tonight just for the regular session. But we're condensing it into having 2 meetings in one night. So between vacations and condensation of the 2 meetings into one, it's like the perfect storm of badness for.
Yeah.
For
It happens in every town, Joe, I know.
Can I just ask, what's exactly your concern with on your running out and what you're afraid of?
Yeah, I can answer that. So, we have the lease for, as you guys they're cleaning the space out for us right now to move in. And if we were able to only, like I said before, manufacture 5,000 square feet, we surely would make enough product to cover the room. So I would have to somehow try to convince them to let us out of the lease. And God forbid, quite honestly, if we waited another month and then nobody voted on the 12.5 in another month, they probably would not let us out of the lease as much as they might right now. I don't even know if they would right now. So that's why I said it's a Lee LLC issue, but you know, at this point I'm getting a little bit nervous. And then on top of that, we have to start build out. They should be finished cleaning it out in about a week. We start build out and then we start investing money into the space. And then if, you know, it comes back to it's only 5, now we have, you know.
Well, we can assure you that we talked about the 12.5. The reason that this is here is because the Cannabis Committee discussed it and recommended the 12.5. So that is absolutely not the issue.
Okay.
It's just, we just want a little more clarification now, just to throw another thing at you, is that the planning board recommendation, they said that it was inconsistent with the master plan, but they also said something about perhaps us considering making it 1,000 feet between manufacturing businesses, which we will discuss. I don't think there's any real support for that on this end, but that was brought out. So you may want to come to the work session and get some input and listen to us and the planner try and get this thing together.
We will. We're aware that the Staples is also, you know, on the radar there to be
Right.
cannabis, and it's less than 1,000. So sure we'll be here for sure. Yeah, thank you.
You know, we also have that meeting on the 28th. I know that's strictly for the bond ordinance, but we could also see if we can get the planner, and now John will be back. Will John be back?
Oh, John's coming back.
And then what did you do? You vote at the work session?
No.
Well, no, we should actually vote at that meeting.
It's a special.
It's a special meeting anyways. If we're ready, I don't know, depends on if we're ready.
Notice out, right? But you-
I have to advertise in the paper for a public hearing.
But how much, what's the bunch of 2 weeks, right?
It takes 5 days to get it, or 5, 6 days to get into the record. So hopefully we'll get it next week.
My preference is to talk about it and at the work session and then potentially vote on it. Or I would think that we would be able to vote on it. By that time, we'd have plenty of time to digest it. But again, if your concern is 12.5, that should not be your concern.
Well, but the way it was described is it's possible, right, that the town planner could come back and say that, based on what you were saying, that that envelope is too big because it somehow encroaches on the distance between.
That wasn't anything that came from the planner. That was something that was brought up at the planning board. A resident brought that up, and members of the planning board felt it wasn't a bad idea. So that it was just a suggestion. It wasn't saying that it had to be done.
Got it.
And my-
Planners already signed off on the 12,500, it wouldn't even have been an issue.
Right.
The question is just now whether this goes further, and then they feel obligated to look into it because of that.
I just want to say another thing to take into consideration in terms of the 1,000 that you're talking about, because I feel a little relaxed about 12.5 and now worried about 1,000.
It's 500, that was my mistake, it's 500.
No, about being next to, I think you said 1,000 square feet, I mean 1,000 feet next to another.
Next to another.
Right, I was mistaken, it's 5, just read it, it's 500.
Yeah, so I think that would probably be applicable to probably a dispensary from a retail perspective. You would maybe be taking away from the guy or the girl 1,000 feet from you, but from our perspective, from manufacturing, we supply hopefully the whole state, so it wouldn't affect geographically, you know, our neighbor, because we're not a dispensary.
I want to clarify. We're talking about 1,500. The 1,000 was a suggestion from planning board saying 1,000 from another manufacturing operation. The 500 that's in the ordinance, the proposed ordinance, is 500 feet from a residential zone.
Okay, right.
Okay.
I was just saying, from us, we're not selling to the public,
Okay.
so if we were next to a dispensary or another manufacturer or cultivator, it wouldn't matter because there's no traffic.
We've spoken about that. We understand the difference between a retail and a manufacturing.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
for listening.
What's the name of the company, just so we...
Liddy, L-I-T-T-I-E, Liddy LLC.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for that.
Paul Rodriguez.
Sorry. I have a problem with that business, manufacturing, big problem, huge. When they originally came, they just came for 5,000. How come we can just throw the store away and just say 12,500 is not a problem? Of course it's a problem, huge problem. Have any of you have ever seen the plans? There is not a single manufacturing plant in the state of New Jersey yet. We don't know what is coming. Now, as far as I'm concerned, when I originally studied the project, 5,000, that's what they asked. Just because they came for 12,500 of 20 or 20,000 square feet, now all of a sudden, we're gonna say yes to anyone? Why? Why? We need residents' input. Why? Because it's on the ordinance when you read it, and it's on the planning board, and I would love to challenge the planner, and I will bring my attorney also, because he says that if he exceeds more than 10,000 square footage, I think it is, you have to go to the industrial part. This is a B2, this is not industrial area. And you're totally right on the 1,000 feet. I do not agree with that also. I agree with Council President Alcin Luca and the mayor. That will limit it. Now I'm going to talk about retail, manufacturing, because everything is in the corridor on Route 46. Then you will penalize other people that would like to go in the corridor that has been called home for the cannabis industry. But now going back to the manufacturing, and when I say something, I know that I'm going to do it, and I will challenge in court. If you guys do not address with the attorney, that if he exceeds 10,000 square foot, it doesn't belong there. And I didn't make much of a stink because it was 5,000 and 5,000, yes, it goes into the B2. You will have to do a whole process in order to change the master plan of the town. You have to change the ordinance. You have to change almost everything. My only question to finish this subject, because I don't want, just because they're here, I don't want to just say that we're bad neighbors, but what is in it for us? Just from 5,000 now, that's the application that was approved, and now I want 12,000, so what's going to be tomorrow? I want 30,000? If we, the residents that live around the corner, don't know the smell or the odor that it's going to bring, I haven't seen no plans. None of you have ever seen one of these plants in the state of New Jersey. I don't know what they're coming. I don't know if they're going to boil it, they're going to steam it. I don't know nothing. I don't know what kind of air condition, what kind of duct, what kind of ventilation they're going to do it. What about when it rains? What about when it's windy? Is it going to come? Is it going to be any odor? Is it going to stay inside? How are they going to manufacture? 5,000 is one thing, but now you almost tripling the capacity. So I would love to see that meeting with a planner. Let's not rush into this just because someone is just saying that I need this. Let's just be cool-headed and let's move on with all the professionals in place.
Do you have another subject you want to talk about? Because
Yes.
you're beyond. So I'll let you do another subject.
All right. I got several subjects right here.
Well, you're beyond your time already. So just
Hold on. The prior people right
It doesn't
here, we're
matter.
talking 15 minutes. 15 minutes.
You're taking up more time by saying the time.
Okay, no, but it should be.
Just go on.
Okay, but don't just say whatever's not right for them, it gotta be right for me. And I was just thinking of what I just said at the massage parlor on the work session. One of the ideas or suggestions, I rather say, could be, is it possible to send out letters to all the massage parlors to just remind them the hours of operation that we have a law in town. They have to close at a certain time, otherwise, when it's time for renewal next year, they won't be approved. That might somehow remember or remind them that we are going to take the law into our hands because they've been doing it for so many years and nobody does anything. But we have
That
to.
won't be a problem. That won't be a problem to mail them a letter.
Okay.
And with the hours operation. The only thing is, you know what? I know the business you're talking about. They've been there for years, but I've never heard that. That's the first time I've heard a complaint about their hours.
Well, 2 o'clock every day, 3 o'clock.
Again, like
I'm
most-
just saying, I
Last
haven't heard.
subject.
Like most things, I'm going to give you. But like most things, it's an enforcement issue. If more of a zoning offense, because if we, as part of the zoning code, a business cannot operate after a certain time, then that's, would be a zoning violation. We have to get our zoning officer there. It's not so much, I think, as a police enforcement matter, it's more of a zoning
That was
enforcement.
enforcement, that I don't know, that will.
I just don't know, I haven't heard of any, I speak to.
Oh, we will speak to the
the
zoning.
police department all the time, but the police would probably get the complaint first.
Right, but we'll speak to the zoning officer.
Thank you. I will wait for the handicap, but right now, there is a question for the engineer. But first, on the Montana meeting, it is 982,000 award. Our engineer was thinking about $775,000. So the bids came $150,000 more. I know he's suggesting or recommending, or rather say, to take the bid because it's the lowest bid, but the state of New Jersey doesn't tell you that. You don't have to take the lowest bid in this case because they came above the price that we're looking for. Just in the name of transparency, would it be any possibility to just bid it again? What will be the problem? Just bid it again and just make the pool of applicants just bigger. Who knows? Even the same company might come at lower price because they know that we're not taking 992,000. Just a suggestion, or 982,000.
Understood. We look at it from that standpoint. I'll compare it to the Hutter Street one. We only got 2 bids. So I want to rebid it because we only got 2 bids. For the water main, we got 6 bids. They're clustered pretty close together. I don't see going out to bid. I don't see it getting lower price. Sometimes you get a higher price. So for that reason, I recommend it. So if you get the project going and reap the benefit of it.
That will be up to the council to decide. And the last question is, you, in correspondence number 3, you present a proposal to the town for $365,000 for the scope of your work on coming on the Mayhill Pump Station and several other projects. I'll just reading out real brief or real quick. My question to you is, you're basing your $365,000 for your company based on what? On a percentage of the total project, estimated total value, like some towns does? Or you are basing the $365,000 on the hours that you're gonna input and trying to put all that work together in order to go out to bids?
It's the effort, it's based on the effort we think it will take to get the project done soup to nuts. So it includes design, dealing with the grant, bidding, construction, and the whole works. So it's not based on a percentage of construction, although we may look at it as guidance. It is based on the effort, number of hours.
So an hourly fee, put it that way.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Anyone else wishes to address the council?
Can we respond to his comments?
Not right. You know what? Since it's an agenda item, you'll get a shot at the end, if you want to. Ma'am, is there any, so I see somebody else in the audience. Ma'am, would you like to address the council?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I'm just here to ordinance.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, okay, any other members of the public wish to address the council? Seeing none, I will ask for a motion to close to the public.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Armando, second by Ms. Sanchez, roll call.
Councilman Armando?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez?
Yes.
Council President Saluka?
Yes, we'll start with comments, I guess we'll start with the mayor.
Okay, regarding the budget, we spoke a little bit about it. The assessments on the properties went up, but fortunately for us, the tax rate went down. So the tax rate is 2.366, and as I said, it went down from 2022. So the total increase is $286 on the average house of $434,000. The third quarter taxes will be going out in the middle of September. Payment will be due October 1st with that 10-day grace period. Ordinances, we know about tabling the final reading on the cannabis manufacturing. We also have a final reading to approve a handicap parking space in in front of a resident's home on 7th Street. So the resident had to file an application, which was reviewed and recommended by the police department. I mentioned this before. On August 28th, we have a special meeting regarding final reading on a bond ordinance for new and replacement equipment, machinery, and vehicles for the DPW, also the police department and municipal offices. That bond ordinance is for $2,890,000. Project updates: Cambridge Avenue, which is a DOT-funded project. They milled today, and they'll be paving that tomorrow. Congress Street was already done. The paving was completed in July. Our 2023 road program was awarded last month to Ford Cleanup. The contractor is looking to start in September. Those streets are Kern Place, Van Loon Terrace, Avon Lane, Strathmore Terrace, and Hutter Street. Alberta Drive, which is a 2023 New Jersey DOT project, grant money is being used. That went out to bid, and we will be awarding that contract tonight, if the council does so, to Frank Mescione for $389,000. Midland Avenue and Hobson Water Main project, the bids were received last month, and we're going to award, if the council deems fit, a contract tonight to the lowest bidder, which is Montana Construction, for $982,350. The events that went on, National Night Out was Tuesday, August 1st. It went very, very well. I have a lot of people to thank, so just bear with me. Obviously, the Southwood Police Department, all the members, especially Captain John Zatolo, the other two captains, and all the command staff and everybody that took part. Fire Chief Sabani and Assistant Fire Chief Malnicki and the whole fire department. OEM Coordinator Tom Dickman, Fire Prevention Officer Mike Seitz, Ambulance Corps Captain Lou Rodriguez, and President Joe Pizzino and the whole Ambulance Corps. Rec Director Andy Gallo, Assistant Director Diane Bonner, Christine Generario, my secretary, Mayor's Youth Group, Saddlebrook Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, the Women's Club, who I always seem to forget when I write it down when I do a post on social media. So I'm sorry about that, Women's Club. You're always there to help us, and we appreciate it. Pastor Christopher Wolf from the First Reformed Church, and along with the Saddlebrook Community Partnership. We had several federal, state, county law enforcement officials and agencies there. I want to really thank our sponsors. We had a lot this year: UPS for the first time, Ferraro Spine, Kessler Institute, Grumpy's Eat Big, Premier Sports Cards, Greater Bergen Realty, Weir Welding, Mr. Bruno's, Mario's Pizza, Parties for Peanuts, Walmart, 7-Eleven, Mr. Softy, and Acme. Also, I want to thank Thomas Van Winkle for taking photos, and Rafael Gonzalez for Lacosta for doing the video. We had the summer concerts, which we talked about. Wednesday, July 26th was Mushmouth, and Thursday, August 3rd was Forever Young. I thank Andy Gallo, Diane Bonner, and the whole recreation department. Also, thank Columbia Bank for sponsoring the Mushmouth concert. First Junior Police Academy, which was brought up, that's been this week. Tomorrow night, start tomorrow afternoon, 2 p.m. is the graduation here at the municipal complex in the gym. 11 a.m. now?
Yes. 11 a.m.
Oh, all right. Thanks for telling me that. I wouldn't have been there. Yeah, I don't know why they did it during the day. I'm not real happy with it. I think they should have did it at night or on a Saturday, because they miss a whole day. It's 4 days instead of 5. So I'll have a talk with Captain Zatolo about that. Township picnic is coming up Saturday, August 26th. Well, not this Saturday, the next. The rain date Sunday, August 27th. Residents can pick up tickets here at the Recreation Center from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Also at the Senior Center and Saddlebrook Library during normal business hours. I also want to go back and thank Thomas for taking pictures of the Junior Police Academy. Upcoming events, St. Philip's Festival is next week, Wednesday, August 23rd to Sunday, August 27th. The town picnic, which I already mentioned here, but I want to mention the Mayor's Walk is in the morning at 9 a.m. So, and again, that was sponsored by Howard House Gym in the Saddlebrook Mall. We're going to do another 9/11 ceremony, this time on September 11th. September 11th is a Monday. We're going to have it here at 5:30 p.m. Some other things, Labor Day is Monday, September 4th. Municipal offices of the DPW will be closed. So garbage pickup in that zone, it's the north end of town, will be Friday for grass clippings and that kind of thing. Schools will reopen in a couple of weeks. I want to wish all the students, faculty, administration, and staff a successful year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Economic?
I'm going to be very short. I just want to thank everybody for coming out for National Night Out, everybody that attended, everybody that volunteered. It was a great success. The 26th is the Township picnic. It's going to be a great time. We have DJ, we have a band, and different food vendors. So come out, have some fun, and enjoy the rest of your summer. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Sanchez?
Nothing at this time.
No, I'm going to be quick. First thing would be the concerts. I think they were a great success. Thanks to Columbia Bank for helping to sponsor at least one of the bands. I think last year we had a certain number of people. The first concert got 50% more of that, and then the second concert got 50% more of that. So we're hoping to grow this into not only multiple concerts per year, but more attendance. So we tried a little bit different avenue in terms of advertising that may have worked. It may have been the bands. But as the mayor said, we're having another band come in September 29th. So for people, and I hear this a lot, as the mayor said earlier, you keep getting phone calls from various people, and it's part of our job. You're at CVS and somebody decides to stop, and you think you're going in for a pack of gum, and you're there for a half hour talking about town stuff. But a lot of the concerns with there's nothing to do in Saddlebrook. Well, just think about it. You've had in the last 6-week period of time, you've got 2 summer concerts. You had a national night out. You're having the St. I know it's not a town event, but we're all one. So you got the St. Philip's Festival, you've got the Mayor's Walk, you've got our Township picnic, and then you've got the concert at the end of September. So there's a lot of things that have been done. There's a lot of things to do in this town, and with this facility, including our recreation center, which is very well attended, it's just getting better. So Saddlebrook is a great place to be at this time. It's always been, but it's getting better. The police academy, we've always thought that was a great idea. When I was in Oakland, working there, I used to see them come in, and it was a trip. Just seeing these kids, in uniform and doing their marches and things like that, and they loved it. It's a lot of tough love that the cops give them, but at the end of the day, they're all hugging, and it's a great thing. I'm glad that I think we had it years ago. Maybe did we ever have it?
We never did.
We never did.
No.
But it's a long time coming, and I'm glad that it's happening. And thanks to the members of the police department that brought this to fruition. We spoke earlier about speed humps, and we're looking into the viability and cost of a possible reflective paint on the speed humps. My only concern is when you look into this, and maybe you can do a little research, approaching it, if it's reflective, I don't know if that emphasizes the height of the hump or it de-emphasizes it. So that's something we're going to have to look into, but we have our engineer working on that. In terms of cannabis, we spoke about that. We're going to assuming we're going to have some other people come up here later on to talk about it, but we are going to table that ordinance because we just feel that we need a little more information. That's all I have, and we will go into ordinances. First ordinance 1739-23 for a second reading, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 206 of the Code of the Township of Saddlebrook, regulating the operation of specific classes of cannabis businesses within its geographical boundaries.
Motion to table?
There's a motion to table. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Accomando.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez.
Yes.
Council President Simulka.
Yes, so that ordinance has been tabled to our next meeting. The reason, as we've stated, is we need a little more time to consume that and actually to get some information from our planner. We have an expert who can talk to us about that and whether the ordinance as it's written actually reflects what we intended. Second ordinance 1740-23 for second reading. An ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 106, handicap parking of the Code of the Township of Saddlebrook to provide for a handicap parking space in front of 142 North 7th Street.
Motion.
Second?
This is for, just to give it a second reading. There's a motion and a second. Roll call.
Councilman Accomando.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez.
Yes.
Council President Simulka.
Yes.
An ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 106, handicap parking of the Code of the Township of Saddlebrook to provide for a handicap parking space in front of 142 North 7th Street.
Is there a motion for a public hearing?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Accomando,
Second?
second by Ms. Sanchez. Roll call.
Councilman Accomando.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez.
Yes.
Council President Simulka.
Yes. Public hearing on this ordinance is open. All persons interested now have the opportunity to be heard. Anyone wish to speak on this?
Question. Good evening, Norman Rodriguez. I've been out of the council for many years. I don't know if the law has changed or what's going on. I know about the problem with Garfield, and now they got decals, or they have to report with the police department. If you are living in Garfield, you have to report to the police because some of those people from other towns, they say they were parking, and we have the same issue years ago that those people from there were coming here. Now, what is related to the handicap? I don't know about this. Let's say, for instance, someone from another town or another block can just park also on the handicap parking if they have a decal, right?
Yes.
Does our town offer a private handicap parking for a specific plate number or not? So we don't offer that, all right. Just food for thought in the future, because if we keep on growing, people complain about that the parking spot has been taken in other towns, many of the municipalities around New Jersey, where they do it now.
I have seen that, yeah. I
Yeah,
have.
for those private parking spaces, license plates, they are charging $100, $200 because it's just for the specific plate. Just food for thought. Thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else wish to be heard on this ordinance? Seeing none, I ask for a motion to close.
Motion.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Accomando, second by Ms. Sanchez. Roll call.
Councilman Accomando.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez.
Yes.
Council President Simulka.
Yes. Mr. Clerk, please read the resolution regarding final passage.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that the ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 106, handicap parking of the Code of the Township of Saddlebrook, to provide for a handicap parking space in front of 142 North 7th Street, is now passed on second and final reading, and that the Township Clerk be directed to advertise said ordinance or title thereof in the press, together with the notice of the date of passage of said ordinance according to law.
Ask for a motion to pass.
Motion?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Sanchez, second by Mr. Accomando. Roll call.
Councilman Accomando.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez.
Yes.
Council President Simulka.
Yes. Just as an aside, as Mr. Rodriguez had indicated, there is the ability to designate a certain, to designate the spot limited to a certain plate number, because I see that in Hoboken, where I'm now working, where some people are cited for a handicap parking violation just for generally parking in a handicap zone, and others that park in a spot specified for a particular vehicle. However, the parking issues in Hoboken are a lot different than the parking issues in Southbrook. So until, we may address that in the future, but until we have a bunch of people crashing into each other trying to get into that spot on North 7th Street, we're not going to do anything, but we can always address that if it does become an issue. Thank you for bringing that to our attention, sir.
All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine, non-controversial by the Township Council, and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or members so requested, in which case the item or items will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. The one motion signifies adoption of all resolutions, receive and file letters, correspondence, reports, and approval of minutes and applications.
Is there a motion?
Motion. Second.
Motion by Ms. Sanchez, second by Mr. Accomando. Roll call, please.
Councilman Accomando.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez.
Yes.
Council President Simuluka.
Yes. Old business, new business that we haven't discussed already. Anybody? Hey?
I just wanted to bring up that at the work session, we had those residents that came in complaining about the intersection of Sampson and Dewey, and I just want to let them know that we are going to look into it. We're going to have the town engineer take a look. We're going to have the police department check records to see how many accidents have occurred there, and also do some kind of traffic study there, maybe do some enforcement. But we will definitely look into that. So just for them, they're not here now, but if they're watching this, we are going to, we're going to take what they said and seriously and do something about it.
And we do realize that under certain parameters, certain days, certain times on those days, that is a high traffic area in terms of both vehicles and pedestrians. They are small roads, but you've got Veterans Field right there. So you've got a bunch of kids walking, some accompanied by parents, some not, unfortunately. We share your concern about the safety issues there. So we are looking into that very seriously. Ms. Sanchez? No? Okay, I'll accept a motion to open the meeting to the public on agenda items only, and we've given a lot of latitude prior, but the 3-minute rule will be strictly enforced at this time.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Accomando, second by Ms. Sanchez, roll call.
Councilman Accomando.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez.
Yes.
Council President Simuluka.
Yes, the meeting is now open to the public. Anyone who wishes to address the public on agenda items only. And again, the limit will be 3 minutes. Seeing no one, I'll entertain a motion to close the meeting.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Accomando.
Second.
Second, Ms. Sanchez. Roll call.
Councilman Accomando.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez.
Yes.
Council President Simuluka.
Yes. Last, is any final comments? Mayor?
No, good.
Todd? Sanchez?
I didn't speak before, but I know there's only a couple weeks left of summer, so I hope everybody enjoys the remainder of their summer, and I hope to see everybody at the town picnic.
Yes, we will see you at the town picnic, and Thomas Van Winkle will be there taking pictures. Raphael will be there taking videos. It's a good time for all. It always has been. Good luck to everyone going back to school. So have a safe and prosperous school year to all. Parents, teachers, administrators, and especially the children. I'll accept the motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion.
Councilman Sanchez, second by Mr. Accomando. Roll call.
Councilman Accomando.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sanchez.
Yes.
Council President Simuluka.
Yes, thank you, everyone.